Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Conqueror Gun Carriage. It's the Tier 10 British SPG. It's located on the northeast spawn of Klondike, and it's under the command of the BassmanFromHell. Yes, you've seen him in the back chat 155-58. Now he's in the Conqueror Gun Carriage on the opposite side of the battlefield. Now this Arty has a 9.2 inch howitzer. That's pretty big. It's not the biggest gun in the game. That happens to be the 24 centimeters of the T92 HMC, but this one is very big and it's got a very good trajectory. The shell goes almost straight up and comes straight down on the enemy. 37.3 seconds is the reload time, and he can do 1200 alpha and penetrate 59 millimeters of armor, which is quite a lot considering the shell's coming down on top of them, top armor, and it's got a burst radius of 12.2 meters. He's ready to go. First target's in sight. It's an AMX 13105. He's dialing in on the target. An enemy Arty's just fired at that guy and he's just splattered him for 353 and he's been killed. So he's not only actually got some damage, he's got some stun assist off that one as well. Now he's in the long reload time. 37.3 seconds is a long time really. But then the thing is that this Arty's got such a big footprint. If enemy tanks gather together, you can't hit all of them at the same time. And it looks like that's what we've got here. A Super Conk and a T110E4 working together. Oh, now Bassman's been spotted by the enemy. So he needs to move now. Otherwise the enemy Arty's going to be onto him like a shot. And I think it was that light tank that just got taken out, the EBR 105. I say tank in the loosest possible term because I don't really consider EBR's 105s as light tanks as such, but more vermin that have to be killed as soon as possible before they corrupt the game. They really shouldn't be in the game, but then that's my opinion, and the opinion of Klaus, and the opinion of most of the streamers and the CCs, with a few exceptions. Nobody really likes the wheelies because they ruin the game for other people. Okay, he's looking around for a possible target and he's found a Jaegeru, but there's a Heshbon nearby. Oh, he's found two tanks together. Okay, so he's working on hitting both tanks at the same time if he can help it. He's going for the Leopard, thin armor, rounds out. This should hurt. Lands near him, he pulled away just as the shell impacted for 352, and of course we don't advise people to pull away because you might get a blind hit on something, and you can actually tell if you've got a blind hit on something because if the shell suddenly stopped short of the target and disappeared and there was no explosion but the target actually took some damage as well, then you probably hit a blind tank you couldn't see and then splashed the target that you were originally after. We've now got an M48 pattern and an IS-7 together. He fires rounds and they back together almost as the round went in. Oh, he got both of them, yes. 87 hit points to the IS-7, but he did 303 to the M48 pattern, and the main reason he did that was the pattern is lightly armoured compared to the IS-7. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, you would have seen, if you're a regular to this channel, the Bassman actually does make profits from the Grand Battles. He not only gets huge numbers of credits, but he also gets bonds as well. And that means that he can equip his vehicles with the best equipment. Either that or he can buy the collector's tanks that he wants to get. And the main reason for that is, of course, that yes, it is profitable to play Arty at tier 10 in Grand Battles because there are so many targets, 30 targets to fire at, 30 on each side, and that means that he's going to be able to sit there and blast away at the enemy with cheap HE, because HE is very cheap, and yet you can do a lot of damage with it. Now, he didn't fire at that target, he actually selected a different one, and the reason for that was the target was about to get killed by the enemy and still didn't have much in the way of hit points, so he wants to maximize his hit points, maximize the amount he collects. Now he can see there's an E4 there, you just saw the E4 fire, even while it was unspotted. You saw a little flash come from the where the gun was located. 328 from a near miss. Now, if you get a direct hit from a Conqueror Gun Carriage on an enemy tank with thin skin, it can be absolutely devastating to them. It can actually take out some thin-skinned vehicles altogether with just one shot. You can wipe out things like FV4005s or Guerrillas because they have such thin armor. Because of course you get then a penetrating shot. Now the Striv 103B, his armor is about 30mm thick, and so a shell landing on top of him is going to be pretty deadly. Now that one didn't hit him precisely, but it did stun him and damage him. And you can see there's a TVP not far away in the distance. That guy's hiding behind the rock at the moment, waiting to ambush somebody. Over here we've got a Heshbon. Now he's taken relatively little damage, and I think that's mainly because he's been hiding, doing what a tank destroyer should do, which is actually try and stay in cover. But now he's actually close to one of our guys, about to unleash a Hesh round. So Bassman fires one in, and he stunned the target just before the target was taken out. So he picks up another bit of stun assist. He's got 3.6k of damage so far, 2.3k of stun assist, no damage assistance so far. He hasn't actually tracked anyone whilst they were then taking damage, but well, this Jaegeru, it's a difficult shot, mainly because he's up against the wall. He obviously knows how to remain Arty safe, and he was about to hit that 430U, but the 430U tried to dodge his 17cm shell, but he backed up on that corner. Bassman fired one in. Oh, that was a blind hit. He definitely hit the Jaegeru square on. Direct hit on him, because you saw the shell disappear without an explosion. So that Jaegeru has been badly damaged. Oh, we can see he's badly damaged now. We can see he lost a lot of hit points. So the totals at the end of the battle are going to look slightly different, because Bassman did get some damage, but he didn't spot at the time. Okay, that 430U on the enemy teams managed to get behind the 60 TP. Now, in the past we would have refrained from actually firing in because we might have damaged our own teammates, but now team damage has been taken out of the game. We fire in to help them if they are being trolled by some enemy tank and they're unable to take him out quickly. Now, it means our teammates get stunned, but then they get rid of somebody who happens to be causing them problems, or at least they reduce their hit points to a manageable level so they can get one quick kill on the enemy, take him out. I know a lot of teammates don't like getting stunned by their own Arty, but I can promise you it's probably better to be stunned and then be able to take out the enemy tank than to have to wait for a long reload and take a huge amount of damage from the enemy whilst you're waiting for that reload to happen. Oh, that's a near full strength Striv 103B right up on top of the hill. Bassman's dialing in. He's almost ready. He's gone. He's ready. Rounds out. Long flight time. 552 from a direct hit. And the next shot that went in also did a huge amount of damage. 581. So again, Bassman's getting a very large total in stun assist and actual damage combined. He's up to 7k already. Over 7k. I think he wants another shot at that Striv. He's almost loaded, and that guy's staying still because he's in siege mode and he's about to take a shot, but he's now moving away only slightly. Turned around and he's gone off somewhere else. Now, how's the battle going? Well, we're 2 tanks up on the enemy. But the problem now is there's very few enemies in sight. Well, he fired one shot in there. I'm not sure who he was actually trying to hit, but he has been spotted by the enemy. And I suspect it might be that Object 430. Yes, there's one over there. But of course the enemy Arty is now going to be hunting him, so he's moving erratically to throw the enemy Arty off. And there's the shot. You see, enemy Arty tried to get him, but because he was an Arty player, he knows how to avoid Arty. He doesn't have to get hit by Arty if he doesn't want to, because all he needs to do is maneuver in such a way as to throw the enemy off once he's gone unspotted. He's now hugging this rock to prevent any more shells from impacting him, waiting for the moment that he can actually move to a new firing position. Now that Object 430U is actually quite close, but yes, if you get shotgunned by a Conqueror Gun Carriage, you probably will know it. You can't get good gun depression in this Arty because it's got a big recoil device underneath the actual howitzer itself. But the 430U has been killed by our 430U, and that means now Bassman can move towards the enemy cap. Meanwhile, enemy Arty's trying to kill our 430U. Just got stunned on him. And the enemy Arty, or one of them, is in sight, a T92 HMC, but Bassman, well, he wasn't going to stop and take a shot because he could see that our Heshbarn was nearby and the 60 TP, and of course they were going to make sure that the Arty was gone. Now, if you want to learn how to avoid being hit by Arty, if you're a tank driver, the best suggestion I can give you is play Arty yourself. Learn how to avoid shells. Learn where you can shoot and where you cannot, because the places where you cannot shoot on a battlefield, those are the spots where tanks can move without getting struck by Arty. So there are plenty of those on virtually every battlefield. There's some spot or other that we cannot fire into, or at least if we can't fire into, we can't spot you. And if you're not spotted, you can't be struck unless, of course, you stay somewhere that all the tanks go to, such as some pass or some bush, and then we'll blind fire those spots to see if there's anybody there. So the answer is, don't go to the regular meta places. Try to find somewhere new to hide. There's only one enemy left, it's that Striv. Our Heshbarn is capping, and I think Bassman's going to do the same. The Object 430U and the 60 TP are going up to have a look, find out where he is. We would rather like to get all the kills for the game because it increases the amount of XP. You get a bonus on XP. But Bassman's going to sit at the back of the cap with the Heshbarn at the front and put pressure on the Striv. And they found him. He's gone into the aim, dialing in, getting ready to shoot. Blind shot. Lands near the spot where he was last seen. And he was there. And he did take damage. And he is now almost a one shot now. So they can get him. He's coming down actually. I think he's trying to get a reset. But it's too late because the game is now over. That's a pity really, because he only had so few hit points at the end that they might have been able to get a kill if one of them had reset at that point and just driven out the cap to ensure that they did get that kill. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. It's an ace tanker for the BassmanFromHell in the Conqueror Gun Carriage. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this one. He got 17. Got a Gore's medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle, and a Confederate medal for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. At least 6 tanks that were subsequently taken out by other teammates. And if you see, we have to scroll the page to see all the targets that he actually hits in this game. It's a lot of them. Yeah, he hit a lot of the enemy. And his win rate from the battle was 5,523, which is Super Unicum standard and a bit more. And let's have a look at team score. Well, he did actually get the highest damage in that game, 5,917 hit points of damage, nearly 6k as he said in this game, of actual damage on the enemy. And when it came to the next highest person, that was the Jaeger on the enemy team with 5,118. I think that might be one of the guys that he actually hit during that game, Mr. Good Cat in the Jaeger. Yes, there he is. He did actually hit that guy for 430 hit points. That was the blind shot I think he made that hit the Jaeger, and he stayed behind to see what happened to the shell. And we saw the shell impact the Jaeger, or the spot where the Jaeger should have been, and yes, it did disappear without an explosion. So this guy did get hit with a blind hit. And the next high scorer was that 430U who took out the enemy 430U that was near to Bassman, and he got 4,048 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, it was the Heshbon on our team, the one who capped at the end. He managed to get 4 kills and a Pascucci's medal, and then 3 kills went to the Object 430U and the Conqueror Gun Carriage, and 2 Object 260 on the enemy team. And Bassman only got the 1 kill, but that actually increased his chance of getting the Confederate because he hit so many of the enemy. When it came to base XP, he was right at the top, 1,054 base in this one. Object 430U managed 1,022 and the Heshbon managed 939 base XP. He fired 13 rounds in this game, only 13, but it is a long reload. 5 direct hits, 1 penetration on the enemy. Now I'd be fascinated to know which one he actually penned in this game. I think it's going to be a soft skin vehicle either way, because normally this shell had to come down through the top armor. It's in this top area here. There it is. That's the shell he hit. He hit one of the super conks and actually penned him for 2,015 hit points. Oh my god, that guy, well, he must have been hit more than once, and at least one of those shots went straight through his armor and must have caused a huge amount of damage. Appears on this that he lost 7 modules during that game. 3, his ammo rack, his fuel tank and his turret. His fuel tank was knocked out, his turret was knocked out, he lost his commander and his driver. That is going to be one angry tank driver at the end of the day, having so much damage done to him, but that was rather funny. 12 splash on the enemy as well, 5,917 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300. Trust me, it is funny if you're an Arty player that a tank driver loses so much in one game. We think it's hilarious. If only they learned to play Arty safe, they wouldn't get hit. That's what we say. 11 enemies damaged, 1 killed, and 2,943 hit points of stun assist, or nearly 3k of 12 stuns, and 37 cap points while he was in the cap. On a premium count, he earned 90,626 credits from the game, got 50,000 credits for completing the mission and events, and the total was 140,626 credits. And this ammo is rather expensive. You can see 13 shots cost 31,850 credits. Wow, that's a lot. He still made a profit, a whacking great profit of 108,776 credits from a grand battle. Normally, as I said before, tier 10 tanks lose credits in grand battles because they're always firing heat or APCR or premium ammo of some form or other. But in a grand battle, Arty makes profits because Arty players can whack the enemy with just HE and do a lot of damage. He picked up 7 bonds and 1,581 XP times 5 on this occasion. 3,162 for completing the mission and events, and took home 11,067 experience points altogether. He says CGC loving on Klondike, almost 6k damage, 3k stun assist, Gores and Confederate. It was a good battle, a really good battle. Just goes to show how powerful the Conqueror Gun Carriage can be on a battle like this. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.